One of the great wonders of our natural world is its sheer diversity. We can travel to the frozen north and see the magnificent polar bear, a master of its icy domain. We can venture into the dense forests of North America and Asia to find the formidable brown bear, or its smaller cousin, the black bear. These remarkable creatures have adapted to a vast range of environments across the globe, from the high mountains of the Himalayas, home to the elusive brown bear subspecies, to the lush tropical rainforests of South America, where the spectacled bear forages for fruit. Each species is a testament to nature's ingenuity, a unique solution to the puzzle of survival. They are a familiar and beloved group of animals, recognized the world over. The family of bears is wonderfully varied, each with its own story. There are 8 living species, each uniquely suited to its corner of the world. The giant panda, for instance, has become a specialist, dedicating its life almost entirely to a diet of bamboo in the mountains of China. The sloth bear of India, with its shaggy coat and long snout, is perfectly equipped for slurping up termites and ants. The Malayan sun bear, the smallest of all, is an adept climber, spending much of its life in the trees of Southeast Asia. Each of these animals fills a specific role in its ecosystem, shaping the landscape and the lives of the creatures around it. Despite this incredible global presence, there is one vast continent where one might expect to find these large, powerful mammals, yet none exist today. That continent is Africa. If you journey across its sweeping savannas, through its dense jungles, or over its rugged mountains, you will encounter lions, elephants, and rhinos, but you will not find a single native bear. This absence is a fascinating puzzle in the story of animal distribution. It prompts us to ask a simple yet profound question. Why, in a land of such immense biodiversity and grand landscapes, are there no bears to be found? It is a question that takes us back through millions of years of our planet's history. The current map of bear distribution is a snapshot in time, a result of epic journeys, changing climates, and the relentless pressures of evolution. Bears are primarily a northern hemisphere group. They first evolved in Europe and Asia and then spread outwards. One great migration took them across the Bering Land Bridge into North America, where they diversified spectacularly. Another led them south into the tropical climes of Asia and even across the equator into South America. But their journey into Africa, as we shall see, was a far more difficult and ultimately less successful chapter in their long and storied history. The reasons for this are woven into the very fabric of the continent itself. It may come as a surprise to learn that bears did, in fact, once roam the northern fringes of the African continent. Fossil evidence tells us a remarkable story of a creature known as the Atlas bear. This was not a distinct species, but rather a unique subspecies of the brown bear, the same family that includes the grizzly of North America and the brown bears of Europe. These African bears inhabited the Atlas Mountains, a range that stretches across Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. For thousands of years, they were a part of the rich tapestry of North African wildlife, living alongside many of the animals we still associate with the region today. The Atlas bear was a formidable animal, likely similar in size and habit to a modern European brown bear. It would have been an omnivore, its diet a varied mix of what the mountainous landscape could provide. It probably feasted on roots, nuts, and acorns, but would have also hunted for smaller animals and perhaps even scavenged from the kills of other predators. These bears were well adapted to the forested, rugged terrain of the Atlas Range, a world away from the vast open savannas that dominate so much of the rest of Africa. They were a testament to the brown bear's incredible adaptability, able to carve out an existence at the very edge of their family's global range. So, what happened to this lost African bear? Its story is one of gradual decline, a slow disappearance driven by immense changes to its environment. As the last ice age ended, the climate across North Africa began to change dramatically. The region grew progressively hotter and drier. The lush forests that the Atlas bears depended upon for food and shelter began to shrink, retreating to higher, cooler altitudes. This climatic shift put immense pressure on the bear population, confining them to smaller and more isolated pockets of suitable habitat. Their world was slowly but surely disappearing from around them. The final chapter for the Atlas bear was written by humans. The arrival of the Roman Empire in North Africa brought with it a new and deadly threat. The Romans captured thousands of wild animals for their brutal arena games, and the powerful Atlas bear was a prized spectacle. This intense hunting, combined with the ongoing loss of its forest home, proved too much for the already struggling population. The last recorded sighting of an Atlas bear was in the 1870s. With its extinction, the entire continent of Africa was left, once again, without any bears, closing a fascinating but ultimately tragic chapter in the continent's natural history. Beyond the specific fate of the Atlas bear, there are broader reasons why the bear family never truly gained a foothold in Africa. The primary barrier was, and still is, the Sahara Desert. This immense sea of sand has long acted as a formidable natural wall, preventing animals from the north from migrating further south into the continent's interior. While a few pioneering bears managed to establish themselves in the Atlas Mountains, the harsh, arid conditions of the Sahara made it virtually impossible for them to cross into the lands below. This geographic isolation is a key reason why the wildlife of sub-Saharan Africa evolved on such a distinct and separate path from that of Europe and Asia. Even if bears had managed to cross this great desert, they would have faced an environment for which they were not well equipped. Most bear species are adapted to temperate or cold climates with distinct seasons. They thrive in forests that provide cover, and many rely on a period of hibernation to survive lean winter months. The climates of Central and Southern Africa are vastly different. The intense, year-round heat and the nature of the vegetation, from open savannas to dense tropical rainforests, present a completely different set of challenges. An animal built for a cool European forest would find it incredibly difficult to regulate its body temperature and find its preferred foods in the African bush. Furthermore, any bear venturing south would have encountered a dazzling and highly competitive array of established residents. Africa's ecosystems are home to some of the world's most successful and powerful predators and herbivores. Lions, leopards, and hyenas are masters of the hunt, working in sophisticated social groups. A solitary bear would have faced intense competition for food, not just for prey, but also for carcasses to scavenge. Even for an omnivorous bear, finding a niche would be difficult. The role of a large, powerful omnivore was already being filled, in many ways, by other remarkable creatures that had spent millions of years perfecting their survival in an African context. The story of life is a story of competition for resources. In Africa, the evolutionary race had already produced a caste of winners perfectly suited to its unique conditions. The niche of a large, ground-dwelling omnivore, which bears occupy so successfully in other parts of the world, was simply not vacant. Animals had already adapted to exploit every available food source, from the fruits on the trees to the roots in the ground. For bears, arriving late to this highly evolved party, there was simply no room at the table. The continent's own evolutionary journey had already produced a full and complete ecosystem without them. While Africa may not have bears, it has evolved its own set of magnificent creatures that occupy similar ecological roles. If we think of a bear as a large, powerful omnivore capable of eating almost anything, we can find parallels in the African animal kingdom. Consider the honey badger. Though much smaller than a bear, it possesses a legendary tenacity, fearlessness, and a remarkably varied diet. It will eat everything from insects and scorpions to snakes and birds, and it is famous for its love of honey, a trait it shares with many bear species. The honey badger is a perfect example of how evolution can produce a similar solution to a problem using entirely different raw materials. On a much larger scale, we might look to another, more surprising candidate, the baboon. These highly intelligent primates live in large, complex social groups and are true omnivores. They forage for fruits, seeds, roots, and grasses. But they are also capable hunters, preying on small mammals, birds, and even the young of antelopes. Their ability to adapt their diet to whatever is available makes them incredibly successful. In their intelligence, their social structure, and their varied diet, baboons fill a niche that a bear might otherwise occupy. They are one of Africa's great generalists, thriving in a wide range of habitats across the continent. Africa's story is one of specialization and coevolution. The continent is defined not by the animals it lacks, but by the extraordinary animals it possesses. The elephant, the world's largest land animal, is a master architect of the landscape, shaping the very environment it lives in. The giraffe, with its incredible height, is able to browse on vegetation far beyond the reach of any other creature. The lion holds its position as the apex social predator, a role perfected over millennia on the open plains. Each of these animals is a product of Africa's unique history, its climate, and its competitive pressures. They are not substitutes for bears. They are Africa's own answers. The absence of bears, therefore, is not a void. It is simply a reflection of the continent's distinct evolutionary path. It reminds us that each part of our world has its own unique natural heritage, a special collection of life that tells a story millions of years in the making. From the Serengeti to the Congo Basin, Africa is a theater of life on the grandest scale, a place of breathtaking beauty and drama. It is a world complete and magnificent on its own terms. A continent that proves it has no need for bears to be considered one of the greatest natural wonders on our planet.